All right, here we go. Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. Sorry we're slightly late. Did a quick YouTube short on Eamon Ogbongbemiga as the Bears just cut the veteran linebacker and special teamer. We'll talk more about that. We, of course, have a lot of stadium news. Did a full video earlier today. We'll dive a little bit deeper into that as well. We'll talk plenty of football, too. What other moves could be coming as the Bears start to, just construct their roster a little bit with some offseason decisions coming. So we'll let the chat filter in a little bit here. Appreciate everybody for hanging out here on a Thursday. Let us know where you guys are tuning in from today. And let's talk some Bears football, talk some stadium if you guys want. And here we go. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Happy Thursday indeed.
Yeah, Cullen's here. He'll pop on in a second.
Yeah.
We got Jeff in Portland. The Portland Bears. Don't think that's happening. Benjamin in Louisville. Charlie in Champaign, Illinois. Let's go USA. It's been a couple of electric days of hockey in the Olympics. It's been fun.
Hockey's just one of those when it gets to the actual crunch time, do or die.
When the stakes are high and it's close, it's tough to beat that intensity.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. We got Thomas in Anthem, Arizona, Sports Time in Florida. Pensacola is where Adam Downing is watching. We got Cameron in Danville, Illinois. Go vote on the live poll, by the way. Where should the new Bears Stadium be, or where will it be, Illinois or Indiana? Chat still holding strong. It'll be Illinois, 55%. We'll see. We shall see. We got LMRZ in Dallas, Texas, Windy City in Fort Worth, Moguley in Richmond in Illinois. What's up, Prometheus? Appreciate you tuning in.
What up?
Appreciate you tuning in.
Sorry, just making sure we're all good behind the scenes, fellas.
We got K Cobra in Chicago. We're going to do a mailbag today, by the way, so fire in those questions, #Bears, or you can super chat to get your questions on the show. We got Sports Time in North Hollywood, Florida.
Sports Time every time. Love that.
X2 in Chicago. What's up, Montana? What's good? What is good? All right, this is the question of the day, Cullen. Where will the new Bears Stadium be, Indiana or Illinois? As Indiana's making a strong push here, but nothing is finalized as of now. It feels like if Illinois doesn't play ball soon, then this thing could be over. So sounds like Illinois and the Bears will probably have one more meeting, and we'll see if Illinois legislation takes this seriously. And if they don't, could be crossing the border. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a classic situation, at least from where I'm sitting, that, look, the Bears are saying, we'll leave. And Illinois is, again, not that they're saying they want them to leave, but it's just kind of dismissing it, and the Bears are like, we've got somebody that's interested. They're willing to make this happen. And again, if Illinois, unless they're able to kind of make a final push here, stop in the red zone, for a football analogy, it just seems like Indiana could be the new home of the Chicago Bears, and it's something that it's not foreign in terms of other NFL teams not existing where their city, is labeled per se. But yeah, it would feel weird if the Chicago Bears, we always knew, Harry, you pointed this out on the video this morning, we always knew that the Bears were more than likely going to move out of Chicago, the city itself, whether that was to Arlington Heights or wherever. But now it feels like Indiana could be a home for the Bears.
Yeah, and for a couple of people have asked me this. They will still be called the Chicago Bears. They weren't going to be the Arlington Heights Bears. They're not going to be the Hammond Bears or the Indiana Bears. They'll be the Chicago Bears. The Hammond area is actually, from a proximity standpoint, closer than the Arlington Heights property. But again, there's something that wouldn't feel right about going into Indiana. Now, how much, does a lot change for me? Not necessarily. I didn't grow up in Chicago, in Illinois, so I don't have that level of dog in the fight. But even I could say, look, I think it sucks they're leaving the city. I mean, how electric was the lakefront, the downtown skyline in the playoffs? I mean, with the Bears good again. I mean, you heard Caleb Williams talk about it on Max Crosby's podcast. The night before the game, driving into the city before they go to the hotel, the skyline's lit up. Like, it's not going to be the case leaving the city regardless of where they go. I mean, it might still be lit up, but they're not driving into the city the night before the game and stuff like that. So, it is what it is. I think most people had accepted that they are leaving the city, but, crossing state lines, like I do think there's a pride element of that. Like, a lot of these states, like people have state pride, and, if the state of Indiana has 2 NFL teams and Illinois doesn't have one, I mean, there's something about that just feels wrong. So, it's it's a whole weird situation. It's not done yet, but I think this is the Bears making a strong signal to Illinois, like, we're not playing games anymore. Like, we're just not going to keep doing this. You guys have not taken this seriously. You guys have not making us enough of a priority in your legislation. State of Indiana and the Bears publicly weren't in contact until December. Now, it could have been before then, but publicly we didn't know that until December. And before March, they have passed legislation to make something work. The Bears in the state of Illinois, it's been well over a year since the Bears have made a strong push to the state, and it's been several years since they bought that Arlington Heights property. So there's just no excuses, man. Like, it's put up or shut up time. So we'll see what happens. I know a few people in the chat would say you'd never watch again. I don't think the vast majority of people feel that way, even if they're frustrated by it. But I understand it. So it's a tough thing, man. But we'll see what happens. It's not over yet. One thing I've learned throughout this whole back and forth, and we're going to be in Arlington Heights. Actually, we're going to work something out in the city. Actually, it's Indiana. Iowa's made a call. Until it's over, it ain't over. So until there's ink on the paper, which there isn't as of now, nothing is finalized. So we'll see. We will see what happens. I don't think J.B. Pritzker is buying the Seahawks. Whoever put that in the chat, he's trying to run for president, and if he loses the Bears, he's not gonna get a lot of support in his own state. So he better not let this happen, because that's not gonna go well for him.
You mentioned this earlier when we were just chopping it up in the bullpen. The fact that Indiana now could potentially have 2 NFL teams,
just weird. It's not like there's some headliner state, and that has nothing to do with Indiana. But, like, the biggest city in the state is Indianapolis, which is not some, like, when you think of, like, major cities, New York, L.A., Chicago, Dallas, Houston, like, you don't think of Miami, you don't think of even Phoenix, you don't think of Indianapolis. And again, I know a lot of you guys live in Indiana. I'm not saying Indiana's not worthy of an NFL team, but even you got to admit, if you have 2 NFL teams in Indiana, none in Illinois, like, there's something bizarre about that. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. I think it to be honest, like, you nailed it on the head. The fact that it's a state thing, like, that's where the real pride comes in, because you nailed it, right? Like, they were always going to move out of Chicago. Arlington Heights was a kind of land point. I'm sure if, we asked people in the chat, if you could keep the Bears, let's say they moved the stadium even further away than Arlington Heights. They're still in Illinois, but they just, like, for whatever reason, the plot of land that existed was just completely out of the way compared to where it currently resides. They would take that over, even though it's closer in Indiana in terms of proximity. The fact that they would keep it in Illinois would be something that they would prefer.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on that. Now, if it was like the opposite corner and it was like 8 hours away or something, 6 hours away versus 20 minutes over the border, maybe not that, but yeah, I do think the state thing is a big part of this. So
let me actually, you know what? Just feel free to answer in the chat, because you said it's 20 miles away.
We don't know the exact location, but it's roughly 20 to 25 miles if they go to Hammond, Indiana.
20 to 25 miles. Let me know down in the chat for people that live in Illinois, or if you just want to, give your opinion. How far away would the Bears Stadium have to move in Illinois before you would say, okay, the move to Indiana, where it's currently being proposed, would be worth it?
Yeah, Dennis in the chat says it's 40 minutes south. That's about right.
Okay.
Between 30 and 45 minutes, traffic dependent.
Yeah, just let us know in the chat, like, how far would the Bears have to move away before it's like, okay, actually, Indiana's not the worst scenario in the world.
Someone says 2 hours. Someone says 150 miles.
Carter says he drives 2 hours for every game. Nifty says 90 minutes, 150 miles.
I do think there's people like Shy Midway who like don't like if it's more convenient in Indiana, they're fine with it, which is totally acceptable as well.
Miles says he drives 5 hours to a game, 45
Yeah,
minutes.
Tom is correct. Hammond is closer to Chicago than Arlington Heights. That is the kind of irony of all this.
Dennis says time trumps miles. It varies depending on how much that interstate is, or how busy that interstate is. Excuse me.
No question. No question.
Yeah, so it's fair. Not every Bears fan lives downtown. That's why I was asking. Like, is it? I was curious to know, like, the timing and the distance, how much that played an effect. Because maybe you keep the Bears again, just in a hypothetical world.
People value their time. There's a portion of people out there who, I'm not one of these. I can't claim to have as much investment as like lifelong, Chicago residents or Illinois residents. But I do care about this. Like I don't. It wouldn't feel right if they went to Indiana. But I do think there's a portion of people, and a part of me falls into this. Like you guys know me. Like I get over the stadium talk. I'm like, when it's done, when a project's announced, we'll have a conversation. But obviously, when there's big updates, it's my job. I got to break it down to the best of my ability. But I do think there's a portion of people like, yeah, I mean, just get it done. If Indiana's playing ball and Illinois isn't, let's just get it going. Like, it's I do think there is some of that. So, all right, we'll talk more about the stadium here in a little bit. But, guys, the hoodies have dropped. One thing that Indiana's not going to have is St. Patty's Day, and no one does it better than Chicago. The Green River, check it out, chatsports.com/bearshop. We have the hoodies available in navy and black with the Green River really popping. Look at QB1 and Staley, the mascot. You absolutely love to see that. We do have the T-shirts as well, including a green option if you want to rock the green on St. Patty's Day, of course. Now you do have that covered with the river on all these gears. You got the green shirt, the navy shirt, and the black shirt as well. We're taking you just to the overall Bears Now shop, chatsports.com/bearshop. But the hoodie and the T-shirt will be the first two items that you can click and shop from. But the reason we're doing that is you can check out all of our merchandise over there. So chatsports.com/bearshop. The T-shirts are $29.99. The hoodies are $44.99. So get shopping today. I know a lot of you guys have jumped on the T-shirts already. We appreciate that. Chatsports.com/bearshop. Okay, we've got Dennis with the super sticker, and I think he put something in the chat as well.
I told him to send a message along with it. Here, let me see if I can find it. Give me 2 secs. He says, not trying to get political, but JB wouldn't even win votes to rep the Democrats.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just communicating that there's a lot of thought that he wants to run for president. I'm not commenting on his chances. I just know that's been out there. He also said, just to make sure.
That wasn't it. Well, that was the first one after the super, I thought.
Just send it again in the chat.
Yeah, you feel free.
You don't have to super chat it.
Yeah, we'll just read it in the chat.
Yeah, like I can't scroll and try to find everything you've typed.
Yeah, unfortunately, YouTube doesn't let us.
But you can just send it again. Yeah, so again, the stadium situation, it's ongoing. I do think the Bears' patience has run out, or just about run out, and now we are.
Was it the Chai Hammond Bears? Was that the one you wanted me to read? Just let us know, Dennis.
Yeah, I mean, is there something in there you don't want to send again? Like, I don't. If that's the case, then I probably shouldn't read it anyway. Wombank says unsubscribing because I won't be a fan of an Indiana team. Well, I can't control that. I hope you'll still watch the show. I mean, we're going to be covering this team, whether they're in Illinois, Indiana, or on planet Mars. But yeah, I mean, that's your call, I suppose. That is definitely not true, man. Chicago is a boring city. you can have your takes on it, the city, how it's run, this and that. One thing that is just not true is that it's boring. There's a lot to do in Chicago. There's a lot of cool areas in the city. If you can't find something to do there, I don't know what to tell you. I've been to way more boring places than Chicago, I will tell you that.
For sure.
Still waiting for Dennis in the meantime.
He also said, my mom lives next to Soldier. My girl's family lives 10 minutes from Hammond. Win-win for me.
There you go, Dennis, if that's what you were trying to say. Like I said, there's going to be people who are even for it, and that's cool too.
Yeah. Let us know. Hey, Dennis, you follow me on Twitter too. If you'd rather DM to me on Twitter, that works too.
No, there will not be a name change. They will be the Chicago Bears forever.
Yeah. We'll get some of these super chats.
Even the governor of Indiana used the phrase Chicago Bears in his statement. Like, Indiana's not going to try and make some power play of change the name, and the Bears are not going to change the name. George McCaskey cares about the history of the franchise a lot. It's going to be hard enough if he has to go the Indiana route. He's not changing the name. I promise you that. So, all right. Tar Hockey 33 in Illinois really screwed the pooch when it came to the steal. Should have been so easy. Pritzker is corrupt as he is ruining everything. Indiana achieving more in 3 months than Illinois ever could. Yeah, I mean, look, insert Illinois politicians, and I'm not going to claim to know the decades, 100 years history, whatever, but they tend to drag their feet on these things from, what I know. And, I'm not a, what's the phrase? I'm not a, not politics, but I'm not a city government reporter. I don't know the ins and outs of everything, or state government, but, yeah, I mean, if Indiana can figure it out in a couple months, then, we've broken it down. The Bears are pledging $2 billion for the stadium. They want two things: tax certainty, so they kind of know down the road what their bill is going to be looking like, and they want to have financial help with the infrastructure, because it's not just a stadium you're building: parking, highways, roads, all that stuff. So, yeah, and Illinois has not made that a priority for what they want to accomplish in their state right now. So, K-Cobra, appreciate the 5. I just want this to be over with. I'm with you. Sick and tired of it. Arlington Heights, Hammond. I just want it to be done. Yeah, I think most people, even people who are really upset if they leave the city, the state, etc., I think one thing everyone can agree with is they're tired of this saga. Kevin Warren, even if his hands have been halfway tied behind his back by the state of Illinois, I would say this is, if you had to grade the job he's done with the stadium, it would not be a passing grade. Even if, again, we're acknowledging that he has not had a lot of help from the landscape of the state. I don't think he's done a good enough job. And clearly the opposition, the Springfield, they have not been helpful. So I think the people, the fans, the residents, I think we're all just exhausted by it, which is unfortunate.
Takes two to tango.
Yep. Bear down for life. No matter where the Bears build the stadium, let's just keep calm and remember FGB. That ain't changing. My coverage of this team ain't changing. I'm with most of you, though. I just want this over with.
It is true also wherever the Bears do decide to move, it's better than Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, Hammond, Indiana, Green Bay.
Yeah.
You're closer to Chicago, though, still. So, quick drive.
FGB wherever you are.
Tar Hockey, also to all the dummies that actually think it'll be the Indiana Bears, need an actual education. Let's not talk down to people. But, yeah, they will not be the Indiana Bears. Dallas plays in Arlington. New York teams play in New Jersey. 49. Yeah, there's a lot of teams. I don't know if we got to an exact number, but double-digit teams in the NFL don't play in the actual city that their team is.
I think per our lead producer, Sam, he said earlier, I think it was 20 to 22 teams that do.
It was 19 or 20. I can't remember where you landed.
So I think it was 20.
Out of the 32 actually play in the city that their team name is. So, over a third of the league does not. Yeah. Why is that? Well, sometimes it's situations like this where the politics are complicated, but the biggest reason in most of these cases is these big populated cities, there's not a lot of practical space to build a stadium. So you have to go to the suburbs because there's more room. So that's usually the main reason. $10 from Jarek Scott. Personally, I would have loved for Arlington Heights. Still could happen. It's not over. From Wisconsin, still FGB, but it's about an hour difference between Indiana and Arlington Heights based on my location, but will always be bear down. Yeah, I mean, look, I think a lot of people are just practical. Like, yeah, build the stadium closest to where I live, right? So, yeah, I certainly understand that side of it as well. So, again, we'll continue to cover it. We'll continue to monitor it and see where it all goes.
Yeah, I can only imagine, too, just from the outside perspective, something like this, that it does deal with the Chicago Bears, but it's just not something that's really – it is directed to the football field they play on, but not necessarily what happens on the football field in terms of, the games that are played and stuff that Bears fans really want to dive into, which obviously, like, this is important. But, yeah, at the end of the day, they just need to find where they're going to be playing, just get on with it because I think you mentioned a couple times, Harry, just the state of Soldier Field, like it either needed to be upgraded or just moved into a different area anyway. So
it's the lowest capacity stadium in the league. It's over 100 years old. It's obviously iconic, but like you're the Chicago Bears. You shouldn't have the lowest capacity stadium. And people are like, well, why don't you just build a dome or just build a brand new stadium right there? It's like, yeah, I mean, that would be awesome, but clearly those either are options or people aren't pushing strong enough to make that happen. So, K Cobra.
Just switch. He says, I have also been seeing on X that the Bears may move Hallis Hall to Hammond as well. Wonder if that's true or not.
So apparently the mayor of Hammond, and I haven't watched that press conference yet, but he said that the Bears practice facility would likely move to Hammond or the nearby area, which I don't know if that's true. What I do know is true is Hallis Hall to Hammond, like that's not just a jog in the park. Like Lake Forest, let me get the actual distance here. Lake Forest to Hammond it's about 50 to 60 miles. So with traffic, you're probably talking like an hour, 15, hour, 20. A lot of the players live near the practice facility. And so you could leave Hallis Hall where it is, but do the players want to live over an hour away from where the games are going to be? There's a lot of the challenge too there is you did build, like Hallis Hall was updated not that long ago. So you've put a lot of money into that facility. So I don't know what would happen there. Now, the Bears have plenty of money. I don't think that's a huge deal, but that would certainly be an interesting angle of this. How would that impact training camp, et cetera? So who knows? Maybe they would sell the property where Hallis Hall currently is and build a new one. Not sure.
David says this is official move. Nothing's official in terms of like,
yeah,
it's going to happen yet, but there was a large step taken towards Indiana today.
Yeah, what I would say is that I don't expect the back and forth to continue much longer with Illinois and the Bears. I think the Bears are going to see how Illinois responds to this. They will talk to Illinois state leaders in the near future and be like, hey, we've got our agreement with Indiana. Take it or leave it, basically. This is where we're at. You in or you out? Can you make these things happen for us or not? And if you can't by the end of the next legislative period, which I think ends in May, then we're out. Because Kevin Warren said for a year, we're going to get a shovel in the ground in 2025. They didn't do that. You think they're going to wait till 2027? I don't. I think today signaled that they will settle somewhere in terms of starting a project this year. I don't know if it'll be next week or in 2 months, but we're not going to be here this time next year, I don't think, without an answer on where the stadium's going to be. Will Edwards, should we draft Texas Tech entire defense? I got some dudes.
4 dudes that are going to go probably day 2 or higher, obviously. But
yeah, they got obviously both edge rushers of David Bailey and Romello Height. They've got Lee Hunter, and then they've got Jacob Rodriguez at linebacker. I have a couple day 3 guys too. So
yeah, we've got some talent. They got some talent. Dennis asked a question in the chat that I thought would be interesting before we get to Robert here. So, what is Arlington Heights ever going to be? Do the Bears sell the land? Because they technically own.
I think they would sell the land.
Yeah.
They bought it for about $200 million. I know it's a different type of property, but things have not exactly gotten cheaper since then. So they could probably make a profit on it. And some developer would come in and buy it and do something with it. The Bears could turn it into something else if they wanted to, but I don't think they're stressing that part of it too much. It would be a disappointment because the whole idea was you bought this huge property where you could build this state-of-the-art stadium. You could have bars, restaurants, kind of just Bears football utopia, and you could own all the land and you could benefit financially in a major way, and it would be an awesome community thing. But worst case scenario, they sell it. I mean, they're going to make money on it. I would assume if it was $200 million 5 years ago, I would guess it's at least worth $250 or $3 now. So again, I don't know that for sure, but can't imagine they're taking a loss on that. I would guess they're going to make some money there. So I don't think if they were hell bent like we bought this property, there's nothing else they wouldn't be like considering other options. They're not stressing that property. If they have to sell it, they'll sell it.
A Kevin Warren press conference would be really interesting right about now.
Yeah, and he loves the spotlight. So how about you take center stage with some heat on you? That's what I say. Robert, as an Arlington Heights resident, we don't deserve to have it in Illinois anymore. See, it's like, here's the thing, though. People like you do. I agree with you, we don't in terms of, like, the leaders of the state have failed, right? Like, I think that's pretty clear. They didn't take the Bears seriously, and they might pay the price. But, like, the everyday man or woman does deserve the Bears in the state. The Bears are Illinois' football team. It's the pride and joy of Illinois. It's not the pride and joy of Indiana. So it'll be a shame if they end up crossing the border. But, you know, to your point, I think the point you're making is Illinois has screwed around here. It's what's the acronym kids say? It's fuck around, find out. FAFO. I mean,
it's one of them. Yeah,
it's kind of what it is. That's kind of what's happened here.
That's kind of what happens. All right, we'll get to Shy Guy who sent in a $5 super chat, and then we can get into the rest of the program and all the segments we got planned for you guys today. He says, who is a day 3 burner wide receiver we should keep an eye on?
I don't know what position. Did you do receiver today? Is he a burner?
He is a burner.
Should we do Cullen's draft crush early?
It's up to y'all. We can wait. I usually do it later in the show because I know you guys want to get to the segments and all that stuff.
Do you want Cullen's draft crush now or later?
That would be a perfect segue.
Now or later for Cullen's draft crush?
We can wait. Again, it's not a priority. But
I'm cool doing it now if they want to.
It's up to y'all.
All right, a few nows coming in. All right, they want it now. So let's
we'll get Shy Guys super chat flashed here. A little early edition.
Day 3 burner.
Day 3 burner.
Because I do think that's the type of receiver the Bears could look at adding. Is like, hey, we're not going to spend a premium pick on one, but if there's a guy with some yak potential on day 3 that can contribute, then I think that's the type of guy.
Do we have any guesses before a show? Because there was 3 guys that I was heavily considering, but I picked one that ironically has a tie to the Bears, believe it or not.
A tie to the Bears?
Indirectly, but yes. I'll explain here.
Let me just take it. Let me get a list of receivers in front of me so I'm not just blindly guessing.
Yeah.
Let's go with tie to the Bears.
It'll be really obvious when I put up on screen.
Is Jacoby Lane a burner? He's not.
No,
really,
it's definitely
I was thinking
not
USC.
Jacoby Lane. That is not.
He's
a
a bigger body receiver.
He, to be honest, one of my least favorite receivers in this draft. He was not one of the ones I considered.
All right, I don't know who it is, so let's hear it. Let's get to Cullen's draft crush.
We'll get to Benjamin here in a second, but the receiver I went with is Kevin Coleman Jr. out of Missouri.
and from St. Louis,
Yes.
like Luther Burden III.
Yes, who has some ties. So Kevin Coleman is the guy. So it was between him, the Mississippi State receiver that you're really high on, the burner, that might be the fastest guy in this draft.
He's just caught my attention, Brennan Thompson.
And then it was the receiver from Georgia Tech that I'm blanking on his name on. He's a little taller. This one, the reason why I picked him was
Eric Rivers,
yes, who had kind of a down year after transferring from Conference USA to the ACC. But look, this guy, I think, fits what the Bears are looking for in terms of a day 3 receiver that can give them some over-the-top ability and has a little bit of a return game. So let me just go through kind of everything about Kevin Coleman. So funny enough, when he came out of high school, he was the Missouri Player of the Year honors as a senior. He originally went to, get this, Jackson State, along with Deion Sanders and Travis Hunter, and was named the
and Shador.
He was the, what was it? I want to make sure I get this right. So he was
freshman of the year or something?
Freshman of the year for that program, ahead of both of those guys.
Okay.
He boasted, and then he transferred all over. So he's played in 4 different collegiates. So he played at Jackson State, he played at Mississippi State, he played at Louisville, and then he ended his career at Missouri. He talked about the importance because he also wore the number 3 that Luther Burden wore while Burden was at Missouri.
Okay.
And he talked about, like, understanding the legacy that Burden kind of left at Missouri and, like, how the importance is to carry on that kind of, level of play, basically. So he's a guy, quick twitch feet. I mean, he is somebody that as soon as the ball is snapped, he has no problem getting out of presses. Great, gets to his top speed in a hurry. He's got really good run after catch ability, which, again, we talked about the Bears truly value. Fearless over the middle. He's not afraid to go over the middle, which is nice. Again, 4 different playbooks at 4 different schools. So this guy's used to kind of going from different systems and thriving in. And he has punt return ability. So he had a 67-yard house call at Arkansas. Averaged 12.6 in terms of punt returns.
That's a good number.
As a punt returner.
Had a touchdown this year.
Now, again, he's not perfect. He's a day 3 guy. 100. So he's somewhere between 175 and 180 pounds. We got him listed at 180. Be curious to see where he measures in at the combine. He is a legitimate 4.3 guy, though. So you don't get the strength with him, but you get the speed. Again, most of his snaps came from the slot, so he's a little limited from that regard. Eric Rivers was kind of one where he could play both outside or inside, but
okay.
I still think that for his size, he is a willing blocker, which, as Ben Johnson always says, no block, no rock. He's not going to be the biggest guy. He's not going to be pancaking dudes like some of the other receivers in the National Football League.
But he's willing.
He's a willing run blocker. Tends to go down in terms of his route tree. It is somewhat limited. Again, a lot of screens, hitches, flat releases. He does have some crossers in his game, but I feel like that could be developed over time, and doesn't have the greatest contested catch rate. But, again, from terms of if you're looking at the Bears, and we'll see what they do with DJ Moore. You've obviously got Rome Odunze. You've got Luther Burden. Jade Walker's going to be on this team. He could potentially push for a Devin Duvernay position in terms of, being that return guy. I think that in a Ben Johnson offense, he could be a really exciting possibility. I'd expect him to have one of the fastest combine times.
PFF actually has this contested catch rate, 81.8%. Now, I'm guessing that's a small
his contested catch rate over all 4 schools, I guess, is 53.7. So maybe it increased over it did. Yeah. So
this year it was 81.8. But, it was –
yeah,
he's 5'11". They're probably not throwing a lot of one-on-one jump balls to him.
Not a lot of jump balls.
Maybe he had small sample size.
Also had a really good Senior Bowl in one-on-ones, which again is designed for the receiver to take advantage and ultimately kind of put them in favorable spots. That being said, he stood out amongst many other receivers. So
to be clear, he did not overlap with Burden. So
no.
He was at Mississippi State last year, but he's put together his 2 years in the SEC. He's got 140 catches and almost 1,700 yards. So, that's good production in a really good conference of college football. So, I like this play. This type of player in the 4th, 5th round, I think that's where I would trying to attack receiver because it's a deep class. Some guys will fall out of day 2. And you could still find a guy who can contribute. And I also like the return ability part of it as well because, if you don't get Duvernay back or if you just want to have another option back there, I think that would be ideal.
Yeah.
Come be a wide receiver 4 type, be a returner, and contribute that way.
I will say he did have some kick return experience when he was at Jackson State, if I'm not mistaken, but ultimately became more of just a punt returner.
Yeah, reference says 0 kick returns the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Did have 4 at Louisville, but not many.
Yeah.
You also have to remember in college football, it's not the NFL kickoff rule, so it's a lot of touchbacks. But he's got 57 punt returns over the last 3 seasons, so he's gotten a lot of experience.
Yeah,
with that.
I think this is somebody that, again, is pretty solid too at finding soft spots in the defense in terms of zone coverage. If him and Caleb Williams seem to gel, and again, having that kind of Missouri tie to Luther Burden, he spoke highly with, at least in public. I don't know about if they even had a relationship at all or a little bit, but it's another Missouri receiver that's good after
They
the
might
catch.
know each other more so from St. Louis than Mizzou, so I'd have to look into that part of it. But yeah, they're both from St. Louis, as was Jamison Williams, who's a little bit older, but him and Luther know each other well. So yeah, I would guess they probably all know each other.
Yeah, and again, day 3 guy, somebody that I think could be an option if the Bears do look to go receiver. I'm not even necessarily sure they will go receiver in the draft. I mean, they could just find a veteran similar to like Olamide Zaccheaus.
It wouldn't shock me if they added one on day 3. It's kind of like running back. Even if you got like your full crop, I mean, adding one on day 3. If they lose DJ Moore, they're going to have to load back. They're going to have to add one somewhere. Even if you did get Duvernay and or Zaccheaus back, you're still either signing another free agent or drafting somebody. And if you have your kind of starters set, I probably wouldn't spend too much in free agency on it. I'd probably look to add some guy in the draft. So
there you go.
All right, I like it. Kevin Coleman Jr., today's Cullen's draft crush, the 6th one of the year. So we'll keep them rolling. Combine next week, so that's we'll get some new information, which will be fun. And I think after the combine too, we should revisit. Maybe we revisit everyone you have through that point, and did their stock go up or down based on your initial how you viewed them before the combine? So we can go through the list at that point. But combine's certainly interesting. And for Coleman, to me, like the really interesting one, is he really 5'11", or is he closer to like 5'9"? 5'9", 5'10".
Is he closer to 180 pounds, or is he like 170-ish?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's going to be very important, but ultimately we'll see. Combine next week, so a lot to determine.
All right, Bear Down for Life with the $5 Super Chat. Do you think the stadium situation will have any effect on offseason as far as lowering free agents goes? I don't. In fact, if the stadium is in Indiana and I actually don't know how this works game checks are based on the location of the stadium, because this has actually been a big talking point for like those London games, international. The taxes are higher in a lot of the other countries, so like that game check is actually smaller for some of these guys. Indiana has less taxes than Illinois, so like the players might actually be on board with this because they care about their bread. So I don't think it makes a difference. The city's 20 minutes away. Yep. I don't think that matters. I think free agents are going to want to play for the Bears with what Ben Johnson is doing. The coaching staff is strong. I have no concerns about that part of it whatsoever. Michael, you think they should make another NFL street game? Fun game back in the day.
Yes.
A modern one would be cool. With
my God, yeah.
Think about like the dynamic athlete, like Tyreek Hill on NFL Street.
Bring it. I would buy tomorrow. I would buy it tomorrow if
we might stream.
NFL Street Bears now?
I'm serious.
Dude, it was one of my more favorite games.
The street games were awesome. I like to actually NBA Street more.
Yeah,
NBA Street Volume 2 is one of my favorite sports games of all time. It's awesome. It's awesome.
It was just different. It really was.
Vibes, man.
Vibes. All right. We've been dilly-dallying, talking draft crushes and everything. We're going to get into the content now, but first, hit that like button.
Like the video. Illinois, Indiana. If you love the Bears, hit that like button. We just want this football team to continue to win. Here's what we got coming up here on today's show. Plenty of news around the stadium. Also, the Bears have cut a player, which we discussed earlier. We'll dive back into that, so stay tuned. We'll take more questions, so keep firing away. Super chats will get on the show no matter what. Hashtag Bears. We know not everybody can or wants to donate. You can also use hashtag Bears, get your questions on the show that way. And then take a look at some NFL cut candidates to monitor on other teams that could become free agents for the Bears to sign, kind of like a Grady Jarrett last year when he was cut. So we will dive into all of that. That is next. Chicago Bears Now rolling along here on a Thursday. Are some big roster decisions coming for the Chicago Bears? Based on where we're at in the calendar, the answer to that question is yes, and the Bears have actually already made one of those. We'll tell you who that is in just a moment. But Brad Biggs pointing out earlier today that saying that he would imagine there's a chance the Bears have roster moves in the next 48 hours. Timing of pre-combine veteran releases the last 3 years, DeMarcus Walker and Gerald Everett on February 21st. It's the 19th today. Eddie Jackson, Cody Whitehair, 2 years ago was on the 15th. And then Al-Quadin Muhammad, who ironically would actually be a decent free agent ad, was February 21st back in 2023 in terms of roster cuts. And then Biggs added this as well. He says if there's still work GM Ryan Poles wants to get through at the Combine next week, that could delay some roster moves. But he's always been mindful of treating players right. And if the team is going to release any veterans that they cannot trade, I'd think sooner rather than later. Well, right on cue for Brad Biggs. Fast forward a few hours, the Bears announced that they have released veteran linebacker and special teamer Eamon Ogbongbemiga, who has been here the last 2 years, played on a one-year deal in 2024, signed a 2-year, just under $5 million deal before last season, and has been a core special teamer, but missed about half of last season with injuries and was quite frankly kind of an easy cut. He was one I was talking about, not a major money mover, but cap hit of almost $2.5 million. You save 2.1 by releasing him. I think that's a pretty easy decision. Obviously, linebacker is a position that I think you're going to see some movement here. Obviously, Tremaine Edmunds is a strong cut candidate. Nothing there yet. That saves you $15 million. TJ Edwards had an up-and-down year, dealt with some injuries. He entered the offseason with an injury. Noah Sewell tore his Achilles. DeMarco Jackson's a free agent. So is Jalen Reeves-Maybin. I think one guy that this kind of sends a message to is Ruben Hippolyte. Like, come on, bro. If you can't play at least special teams next year, you're just not long for this world. Talking about the NFL, of course, not to be morbid, but if Ruben Hippolyte can't be at least a core special teamer and at least a reliable backup linebacker next year, then it's just not going to work. So I think that's a guy who needs a big offseason here, has the athletic profile to be good on special teams and at least contribute on this defense. But the Bears kind of make their first notable roster move of the offseason by cutting Eamon Ogbongbemiga, a guy who's contributed a lot, especially on special teams the last 2 seasons. So he will be looking for a new home. This is why you subscribe. We're bringing you the latest Bears news, rumors, and updates every single day. We are so close to 158,000 subscribers. If you want daily Bears content, hit that subscribe button. Combine next week. Free agency less than a month away. Draft just over 2 months away. We're rocking. We're rolling. Roll with us here on Chicago Bears Now by subscribing. Okay, speaking of, is Tremaine Edmunds next up? Is he on the chopping block? Obviously, Tremaine Edmunds is a solid NFL football player. No one would say otherwise. He's not garbage. He's just not worth $17.4 million, which is what his current cap hit is set for next season. There's no guaranteed money left in his deal, and as we've discussed, if you cut him, you save $15 million. I quite frankly expect this move to take place any day. Now, maybe to Biggs' point, they're holding out a little bit. Maybe they can try to find a trade if they eat some of the cash flow to a linebacker-needy team. Maybe they would take on some of the cash if a team would take on the final year of his contract. You do see that sometimes, so you never know. Because, again, if Tremaine Edmunds gets cut, he would sign for a team for decent money. I would guess, I don't know, $8 to $10 million someone would pay Tremaine. So if a team wanted to do like a pick swap for him and then extend him to lower his cap hit, that is certainly a possibility. But I still think a cut is most likely, and I think other teams know that. The Bears are expected to cut him. Some other big-name cut candidates and what the savings would be. Cole Kmet, as we've discussed, I don't think that's very likely. I think given the way the Bears play football with their physicality, using multiple tight ends. He's still a reliable pass catcher, still only 26 years old. I expect him to be here. I think an extension is more likely to lower that cap hit of $11.6 million. DeAndre Swift, more on him in a second. I think he could be the one to watch. That could go either way. They'd save $7.5 million, but I'm comfortable with his cap hit for 2026. Jalen Johnson, you only save 6.5. Montez Sweat, you only save 6.9. So I would play those out this year, because then you have more flexibility next year. If they play well, great, they're here in 2027. But if not, you can have more savings next year for those two players who are aging. So I think these three guys are likely safe. I think they will be back. So that brings us back to DeAndre Swift, who had a great year. We've talked about it. Over 1,300 yards. He was much better this season than last. He played with more physicality than in the past. Thought he showed better vision this year. I think was, throughout the course of the season, if you added it up, at times the most reliable player on this offense. But it is a position that, unless you have a special one, you can move off a guy without freaking out about it, right? If they cut DeAndre Swift, it's not like it would be a move that would just be earth-shattering and devastating. Why? Because there's always guys out there, and you already have one on your roster in Kyle Monangai, who at least showed he can play a significant role in a rotation. That being said, I think Swift is in a position where they wouldn't cut him in the near future. What I do think could happen, especially if they're interested in a Breece Hall or a Kenneth Walker, if one of those guys were to hit the open market, they could try something like the Packers did a couple of years ago. No one expected Aaron Jones to get cut, or the expectation is that he would be back. And I think right now the expectation is that DeAndre Swift will be back in 2026. But like the Packers did when Josh Jacobs became available, they signed Jacobs, agreed to terms, then they cut Jones afterward. So I think you could enter free agency, cap compliant, be in a good spot. Hey, we're cool with Swift, Monangai, we'll roll with that. But if they could get a deal for Breece Hall or a Kenneth Walker or someone they like for a not crazy deal, they could then afterwards say, hey, we've upgraded here. Let's now cut or trade DeAndre Swift to another team, clear the $7.5 million after we just signed player X to a $12 million per year contract. So I still think there's a world where they would cut DeAndre Swift. I don't think it would be right now. I think that would take place in that specific scenario. But again, Tremaine Edmunds is the one that I would expect to happen before free agency. Other than Tremaine Edmunds, who should the Bears cut? Do you want to cut Swift? They already cut Amen Ogbongbemiga. Another small name I think could be gone soon is Rashawn Johnson. I don't think his future with this team is one that is very likely at all. So let me know who is a player you would like to see the Bears cut. Okay, today's show is sponsored by Marsman. Check out Marsman today and get 50% off with our link. I turned 33 this year, and I got to be honest, I was starting to feel it late last year, fellas. Most men start losing testosterone around age 30 and about 1% every year after that. When the new year hit, I kind of treated it like a reset. I wanted to feel energized again, not worn down, especially after a long football season. So this year I'm keeping it simple and doing something natural that supports my body where it needs it. That's why I'm taking Marsman. It helps your body unlock usable testosterone so you can feel like yourself once again. Marsman supports healthy T levels, energy, and stamina. It has 8 natural and clinically dosed ingredients, including zinc, boron, vitamin D, and more. Marsman is made in the United States and is third-party tested. You can also get a 90-day money-back guarantee. So there's no risk. Worst case, if you don't absolutely love it, you can get your money back. However, 91% of users report higher energy levels, so that's pretty unlikely. For a limited time, our listeners get 50% off, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Tell them we sent you. Bears Now by Chat Sports. Okay, some other news that dropped today. Jeff King has been promoted to assistant GM after Ian Cunningham left to take the Falcons' general manager job. Not an upward move, of course, according to the NFL, but that's neither here nor there. But Jeff King, who's been around, he is now getting the promotion. He is Ryan Poles' number 2. Brad Biggs wrote this in the Tribune today about Jeff King's promotion, saying, behind the scenes, King was a trusted voice for Ben Johnson when the Bears were courting the coach last January. Johnson's agent, Chicago-based Rick Smith, represented King during his playing career, which was also included 3 seasons with the Arizona Cardinals. So that's a little nugget I didn't know. I didn't know that Jeff King kind of played a notable role in getting Ben Johnson to Chicago. So that alone deserves a promotion. But I had also heard that Jeff King over the last year in some areas actually had a larger role than Ian Cunningham. I don't know if that's based on they were expecting Cunningham to be gone after this year, or if that's just King had earned more trust in the building. I think there could be a lot of reasons for that, but this was largely expected. No surprise here. I don't know if Jeff King's old role will now be someone else who gets promoted in the organization, or if they'll bring someone from the outside looking in. So I don't know the answer to that, but we do know that Jeff King is now the number 2 in the Bears front office pecking order. Okay, let's get to the latest on the stadium. Obviously, I did a full episode this morning on the Indiana, legislation passing unanimously, the Bears and Governor Mike Braun releasing their statements, all that stuff. If you want to get the specifics on that, subscribe and go watch that episode. But I do want to talk a little bit more because there's been a couple more informational things that have come out. And, can Illinois still pull this off? Can they keep the Bears in the state? Because clearly right now, at least publicly, the momentum is toward moving to the state of Indiana, somewhere in the Hammond area. So Brendan Moore tweeted this earlier, saying Governor Pritzker adds that Kevin Warren, quote, chose not to be in that meeting, close quote, yesterday, in which the team and state officials mostly agreed on a bill. The governor told the staff today that their statement, quote, was not some confirmation that they're moving to Indiana. And I think we know that part, right? Like, if it was confirmation, they would have done some joint statement, hey, we've signed a deal, we're moving to Indiana. That has not taken place. The statement was more of, we've made great progress with Indiana, the legislation is in a good spot, and they've been we've turned this into a great working relationship and look forward to continue to work with each other. That was essentially the nuts and bolts of that. That being said, it is put up or shut up time with Illinois. No more statements from the governor, and Bears as well. I'm tired of these Kevin Warren statements, and I think today is a signal from the Bears, the back and forth, we're just tired of it. We tried to get legislation passed over a year ago. You guys didn't take us seriously. Then we wanted to get it done in the fall. Kevin Warren's sitting in the booth during preseason games, making sales pitches to the city and to the state and all this stuff. And, today a meeting gets canceled. It's like, all right, well, Indiana's ready to play ball. In a couple of months, they got this passed. You guys over a year can't figure it out. So what are you going to do? That's kind of where this is at. What the hell are you going to do if you're Indiana or Illinois? Do you care? Even if you don't individually care, and I'm not going after one person, Pritzker or whoever, even if that individual person thinks bigger things are important in the state, which clearly there's a lot of things that matter in society. You know what, though? People care about their sports teams. And the Chicago Bears are a charter franchise in the National Football League. They have been in the state of Illinois forever. It's bad enough that we can't figure out how to keep them in Chicago. You're going to lose them entirely? You're going to lose them to Indiana, who already has an NFL team? Figure it out. And if you don't, they're going to leave because I think the Bears have made that clear. They're not bluffing. They're not playing around. Kevin Warren said for over a year that the shovel will be in the ground in 2025, and that did not happen. He's probably embarrassed about that. George McCaskey is tired of sitting on his knees waiting for something to happen. So they're making something happen. And if it's not with Illinois, it's going to be with Indiana. Adam Hogue, who works for CHGO and does weekly hits on the score and has been all over the stadium developments over this entire saga, so kudos to him, said this today on the score. He said, it's not done, but it's close. They're at the half-yard line, and as long as they don't run any of those weird Matt Nagy shotgun runs, a little stray for Nagy, and failed to get in, this thing is heading toward Indiana. And I kind of made an analogy earlier. It's half-yard line, I didn't go that far, but Indiana's in the red zone, and they feel confident about the plays they're going to call next. And really, can Illinois pull an Iceman, get a big stop, and go win the game, right? Can they keep the Bears? It's advantage Indiana right now. I think the Bears want to stay in Illinois. And the reason I think that is because they could sign a deal today, but they haven't. And so I think they're going to give Illinois one more chance. Say, look, you guys saw the news. We have a deal in place. You playing ball or not? And if you're not, and if you don't bring this to a vote, and if a vote doesn't pass, we're not waiting for another legislative period. We're going. Because we've told our fan base for years now we're going to get a new stadium built, and you're not doing what we need to be done to make that happen. So, like I said, it's put up or shut up time. We're not going to be here in 2027 without an answer. I think we will know before summertime if the Bears are going to Indiana or if they are staying in Illinois. What do you guys think ends up happening? Where will the new Bears Stadium be? Indiana or Illinois? Sound off in the comments of this video. My name is Harrison Graham. Thank you guys so much. A lot of news today. Stadium, Amon O cut, Jeff King. We're covering it all, so hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys soon. Hashtag Bears Super Chat. We'll get to some mailbag questions here. Prometheus with the 5. He said it wouldn't make sense politically to be responsible for the Bears leaving Illinois. Hashtag simple logic. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, look, I said this earlier too. And listen, I agree for the most part. These billionaire owners should fund their own stadiums. The Bears are actually basically doing that. They're pledging $2 billion. Most of these other teams are like, just make the taxpayers pay for it. And it gets passed in legislation. And, the average everyday man and woman has to pay their part. The only thing the Bears want is tax certainty and money for the infrastructure, which, yes, like taxpayers would have to contribute to that. But that's not unreasonable. Like, compared to basically every other stadium project that we see. That is not an unreasonable ask. So, if Illinois loses the Bears to Indiana, they cannot come out and say, well, they just took the check, these billionaire owners. It's like, no. Part of the statement from earlier today from both the Bears and Indiana is that even if they go to Indiana, they're still pledging that $2 billion. So, like, the Bears are doing right by this. Like, they're pledging a lot of their own money. So, yeah, and I'm with you. Like, if you're Pritzker and you want to be president one day, good luck if you lose a charter franchise to a rival state. You don't think people care about sports enough in a national election? You are wrong. Like, they do. So I'm no political expert, but I promise you on those debate stages, they will say, how is this guy going to get stuff done? He lost the Chicago Bears. Like, that's the first thing I would say if I was running against them. So we'll see, man. They better figure this out for a variety of reasons, not just that, of course. Alex Ammerling, anyone else worried about the pollution in Hammond? So there was a discussion earlier about, like, they're going to have to do some environmental testing in the area of where a stadium could go. So I don't know where that sits, but I don't think I know they've done some of the preliminary work on that in terms of, like, the sites and locations. Like when Goodell was in town, they looked in Indiana some. So I would imagine they can get that straightened out or in an area where they feel comfortable. Mike, so is it weird Jersey has 2 NFL teams? Yeah, I mean, like I've said, there is a level of this where, like, people freak out, and rightfully so, but this isn't just unique to the Bears if it happens. I do think that's a little bit of a different situation, especially since they share a stadium. It's not like the New York Giants and the New York Jets, like, each have their own stadium, but yeah, it's a similar-ish type of deal, I suppose. Wasim Khan, if I'm the Bears, F Illinois, they've been playing. Well, I think that's what the Bears are saying today. It's not F you completely, we're signing with Indiana, but we are soon. If you don't play ball soon. Like, I think this is them, like, basically setting a deadline, which I don't know what the exact date is, but basically saying, if you don't play ball in the near future, we're not going to try anymore. We're going to go somewhere that wants us and has made it a lot easier. Peyton Johnson with the 5. Never underestimate the ability of Illinois politicians to F things up. Much better opportunities being offered to the Bears by Indiana. Yeah, I mean, even if Illinois makes this work Indiana probably is the best like financial play for the Bears in terms of like even with them pledging the $2 billion, but I think the Bears are willing to sacrifice a little of that to make it work in Illinois, given the history of the franchise and all of that, and that property that they purchased. But again, they're not gonna go back and forth for much longer. There is a light at the end of the tunnel of this thing, and even if it's not the light we want, we're rounding third base on this thing. I'll put it like that. Whereas for years it was like, I don't know when this is ever going to end. I think it's ending soon. I don't know how soon. I don't know if it's a week, a month, 3 months. I don't think it's 8 months, though. I don't think it's next year. I think before training camp, we're going to know where the Bears' long-term home is. Hopefully it's in Illinois, but momentum right now is going the other way. All right, hashtag Bears Super Chat. We will get to your questions
here in a second.
Mike G saying, "What's up, Harry? I live a mile away from the Arlington site. It would suck to see them go." Yeah, it'd be cool what they could do in Arlington Heights, man. They have a lot of land out there. I think it could be unbelievable. Again, in a perfect world, they'd stay in the city and on the lakefront, but if they could build like a stadium there and all the bars, the restaurants, and just community, you could build a couple high school football fields and play some high school games out there. High school football is a huge deal in Illinois. I think you could do a lot of really cool things with that property because it's a few hundred acres, but may not happen. So, clock's ticking. Hashtag Bears Super Chat. I must admit, what was Rockstar being ridiculous?
I just listen. You could say whatever you want to in the chat whenever you're not making sense and you're spamming. I got 5 minutes. All right, take a breather.
Yeah,
take a breather. You also haven't delivered GTA 6, so get on it. What are you doing in the Bears Now chat?
What's he saying about GTA 6?
I don't think he even said anything about He was saying something about the Bears. Yeah, it's weird. We allow people to say what they want within reason, but
yeah, when it's a lot of spamming or certainly inappropriate behavior, that inappropriate behavior doesn't get tolerated. Spamming after a while doesn't get tolerated either.
Yeah, we want to encourage you guys to type in the chat, but come on now.
Yeah, there's a lot. We want you guys to communicate and have fun with one another, but let's not have one guy hijack the chat.
Exactly. By the way, let me know if you guys are going to get GTA 6 if and when it ever comes out. Down in the chat. All right, so use hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get on the show. You can ask stadium questions. I'll be honest, we've talked about it so much today. I don't know if they're going to make it unless you Super Chat, which in case.
Yeah, I would prefer for this mailbag to not be loaded with stadium questions. If a couple sneak in there, that's fine. But we've spent extensive time. Let's talk about the team, free agency, the draft, trade questions, the combine, whatever you got. Again, if a couple get in there, if you Super Chat about it, we're going to answer it. But we're going to get your questions on the show. But let's not make it a full stadium mailbag.
For sure. Getting some good questions there. Cooper will put you up on the
Let's put that in the mailbag. So I'll answer that. I'll talk about that in the mailbag.
Okay.
Yeah. Shout out my guy Cooper here.
Okay.
Let's lead off with that one. Hashtag Bears
cool.
Super Chat. Cooper.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that. We'll get to that in the mailbag.
Yeah. Sorry for your loss, man. We're gonna let that load in to make sure it's good, and then we'll kick off the mailbag. So it might take a couple minutes.
We got Jamal, hashtag Bears. Get your questions in. Harley, Bear hashtag is not going to work.
Yeah.
It's hashtag and then Bears, all one word.
Devon, that's a really good question. We just need you to use hashtag Bears as you see on screen. If you want to get in.
Hashtag Bears, just like Jamal's mother's.
Or Jamal Smothers?
Jamal Smothers or Jamal's mother's. Don't know which.
See, Isaac Glass, ball, man. He's one of the guys I was considering.
He's a burner.
He is a burner.
He's gonna run.
Really like him. There's if the Bears want to go receiver on day 3, there are some options.
For sure.
There are some options. Depending on what they want, Brendan Thompson's one of them.
It's become a position where you can find dudes on day 3.
Roy Mullins asked, where do I get one of those Iceman shirts?
You can find all of our Bears Now merch at chatsports.com/bearshop, including the all-new Green River merch. Links in the chat. That's going to get you to our full shop page, chatsports.com/bearshop. We got the new Green River hoodies for St. Patty's Day. They're available in T-shirts as well. But if you go to that link, chatsports.com/bearshop, it's all available for you.
Yeah.
The Iceman, the FGB, the significant other stuff, all that stuff, it's there. We got, 12 different merch items at this point. You guys have been awesome. Our design team's been great as well. So shout out to my guy Arnold for turning this stuff around for you guys. But
He's crushing it.
chatsports.com/bearshop. Go check it out today. Got the Iceman shirts and hoodies. It's all available. So, all right, let's get into this mailbag, and then we got one more segment before we're going to wrap up here on a Thursday. Appreciate you guys.
Get everything loaded. I think we're all good to go. So we'll get this mailbag started. Use hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get involved.
Yeah, fire away. Hashtag Bears Super Chat. And let's not make it a full stadium mailbag. Get a couple in there if we need to, but we can talk about the team. All right, here we go. I'm Harrison Graham. We kick off our Bears Now mailbag with Cooper saying, my mom passed a few days ago, and this has helped. I wanted to address this one off the top. Number one, terribly sorry to hear that, dude. That freaking sucks. Not looking forward to the day that I face that, unless I go first, which does happen in life sometimes. But hopefully we've provided some laughs. Some other Bears fans have been, taking your mind off things. And DMs are always open, Cooper, at HGramNFL. You can hit me up anytime. Can't promise I'll get right back to you, but I will get to you eventually. And hang in there, man. I hope you got other family member that you can lean on as well. So bear down, buddy. All right, we got Homeless Bears. Who are some teams that could trade for DJ Moore? So obviously we've talked about trading DJ being a possibility, clearing up $16.5 million. Some Bears fans are in favor of it. Some Bears fans want to keep him. Some are on the fence. They're like, I could go either way. Well, I think these are some teams that make sense for different reasons. I think Buffalo, is DJ a true number one? Probably not, but he might be their number one. And they certainly need more weapons for Josh Allen. I actually like him in a Joe Brady offense a lot, too. I think that would be a good fit. He does a lot of creative things, so like that fit. The Raiders, regardless of Max, by the way, I think they could just use DJ Moore, whether it's in a Max Crosby trade or not, get Fernando Mendoza, another weapon. The Patriots, ton of cap space. They could use some upgrades at receiver as well for Drake May. The New York Jets, not because Justin Fields is there, although some of you guys probably think that's why I'm saying that. Their receiver room sucks outside of Garrett Wilson, so I think DJ Moore is like kind of an ideal number two when you have a true number one, which I think Garrett Wilson is. So regardless who their quarterback is, I like that fit. And then the Titans, get Cam Ward another weapon. Calvin Ridley might get cut. They might look to save some money there. They have cap space, so they could absorb DJ's contract as well and help out Cam Ward. The question is, will the Bears trade DJ? Will they trade DJ Moore? Type Y for yes or type in for no. Do you think he gets traded? Do you think he doesn't? I think it's a coin flip. I think there's a decent chance he does. I think they could restructure him. I don't think he'll play under his current cap hit of $28.5 million for the Bears. So something will happen, I would think. Isaac Glass, use our third-round pick this year and get Brennan Thompson. Wide receiver and return man, runs a sub-4.3 40-yard dash. Yeah, he's made his way into my NFL draft algorithm. I've been seeing some clips of him. He can burn, man. He can take a top off of defense. He can do some of the gadgety stuff as well. And, yeah, if he's a reliable returner in terms of catching the football consistently, I would be on board with a guy like that. I don't know if I want to take a receiver in the third round, but I also don't think he's falling to day three. So if you take him in the third, it probably means your first two picks address defense and you address some other needs in free agency as well. But he'd be fun on this team. All right, Scepter trade idea. Bears trade Tyson Bagent to the Cardinals for Budda Baker. I don't know if Arizona would do that. I know it's reported that they're interested in Bagent. And to be honest, this might sound crazy. I don't know if the Bears would do it. Not because they don't like Budda Baker, but Budda Baker almost makes $20 million per year. Do they want to bring on that big of a contract at safety? Clearly a one-for-one. You'd like this team right now needs Budda Baker more than Tyson Bagent, but from a financial perspective, I don't know if they would do that. I've mentioned Mika Fitzpatrick, who would cost $15.6 million, but he's in the final year of his deal. You could extend him and lower that number. Budda Baker just signed an extension last year, I think. So I don't know how much flexibility is built into that contract. I don't think Bagent's getting moved. I think the Bears would want a day 2 pick, and I don't think a team would give up a day 2 pick. So I think he's here at least one more year, and maybe next year that becomes a more realistic possibility that Tyson Bagent could get moved. Okay, today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Shoot your shot with Prize Picks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right. Prize Picks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you play and sign up and play your first $5. Prize Picks makes every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more exciting. So don't miss the chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. Football is in the rearview mirror, but I'm just getting started on Prize Picks. Basketball is rolling along. Baseball is going to be here very soon. You got season-long stat projections there. Just pick more or less on stat projections available from Prize Picks, regardless of sport, and you're good to go. Little hoops action I had on Thursday. I took more on Anthony Simons made 3-pointers. Little goblin play there, and then less on Al Horford points, rebounds, assists. If you're watching this after Thursday, hopefully I won some money, $20 to win $38. That's an example of what a Prize Picks lineup looks like. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Okay, Jeff Volk, 9828. I'm still on the sign Trey Hendrickson wagon, but I'm getting warmer on Crosby. Which do you think they choose? Well, they may not get either. I mean, that's possible based on what they want or if other teams offer more, etc. And who knows? Maybe they don't want either guy. I don't know. They may have a different approach to how they're trying to build that defensive line. Maybe they invest more in defensive tackle. Who knows? What would I personally do? The question for me is simple. What's a Hendrickson contract going to cost you, especially in guaranteed money, and how much do you have to give up in a Crosby trade? If you're not just going crazy on the pick capital, I think Crosby gives you a better chance to be more impactful for longer. But if you can get Hendrickson on a reasonable 2-year type of contract where you're not tied down to him for very long and for crazy money, then I think that's a good option as well. So like most of these questions, what does the money look like? What does the commitment look like in terms of, for Crosby, draft picks and a potential trade? Iceman Productions. If Edmunds leaves, could we draft C.J. Allen in the first? Yeah, absolutely. I think he's in the mix to be the pick at 25. Now, I think in a perfect world, defensive tackle to me in round 1, if all things are equal, I would go D-tack in round 1. Why? There's not a lot of free agent options out there. You could get John Franklin Myers, but I think he's going to cost a lot because he's by far the best pass rushing defensive tackle. Maybe there's a trade out there that becomes available at defensive tackle that I'm not foreseeing. There's more access to edge rushers before the draft. So I think if you attack edge and a couple other positions in free agency, D-tackle in round 1 is the way I would go. But I think linebacker or safety is another position you could go, or edge rusher, in the first round, depending on what happens leading into the draft. Subscribe to the channel. We got free Bears content all offseason long. We're talking daily news updates, rumors, trade buzz, mock drafts, free agency is around the corner, NFL Combine next week. We're going to have a ton of content, boots on the ground in Indy for Chat Sports. I won't be there personally, but we'll have plenty of people who are, and we'll have content from that. So lock us in and don't go anywhere. All right, Cameron, what would it take to move into the top 10 in the draft? Probably your first next year in addition to your first this year, and maybe another piece like a player or maybe like a third-round pick. I explored on another video, I think it was a mailbag as well, to start a mailbag, like Caleb Downs. How far would he have to fall? Like, I think to move up to like 10 or 11, if he was still there, you're talking about 25 this year, 25th pick, your first next year, and maybe something else. So it would cost a lot. It's not going to be cheap. So I think the right player would have to fall for you to consider that. Like if David Bailey started slipping, if Caleb Downs started slipping, I don't know who all would be on the Bears list at the top of this draft of like, hey, if that guy gets to this spot, we're making a phone call. But those are a couple of names that come to mind. DC Viper, kind of a wild trade question, but what about a trade for Garrett Wilson from the Jets? That is a wild question because you don't really need receivers. I mean, who are you dumping? Like, are you just getting rid of DJ Moore and bringing in Garrett Wilson? So you're going to have a $30 million Garrett Wilson. You're going to have Luther Burden and Rome Odunze. Like, it'd be fun, but it's just not necessary, in my opinion. So I don't think that's a guy you would go get. I think you would elevate Rome and Luther, and you would add a complimentary piece if you move on from DJ Moore. That's what I think would happen. Okay, who is your favorite Bear of all time? Who is it? Is it Walter Payton? Is it Devin Hester? Is it Brian Urlacher? Is it Caleb Williams? Who is it? Let me know. Devon, what are your thoughts about Mike Washington Jr. from Arkansas? He's a fun player. I like him. I don't know where he's going to go in the draft. Colin, I don't know if you want to hop on real quick and give your thoughts on him as a player and maybe the range for him in a concise manner. But is he like a fourth-round guy? I like the way he runs. I don't think he's going to give you a ton in the passing game, but he's a big physical runner.
I mean, he's certainly and again, just my opinion. Obviously, Jeremiah Love's going to be a first-round guy. Jadarian Price, I just expect him to go early day 2. I think Jonah Coleman probably makes it on day 2, although I'm not the highest on him. I think he's probably a round 3 guy. After that, Mike Washington absolutely is in consideration for RB4, which, again, could land him in round 4, ironically. He could be a sneaky day 3 guy if some team really falls in love with him, although he's probably just one of those, kind of similar to where it was last year where you had guys like Cam Scadaboo, Bashal Toot, I know went in the top of day 3 last year. I think that's kind of the range that he lands in, but, I mean, you nailed it. I mean, he is built like an NFL running back. He's got the size, the speed. I think he's going to translate and play on Sundays for, some kind of running back committee.
All right, I like it. We'll see if the Bears could have some interest there in Mike Washington. Got time for a few more here. Wasim, do you think the Bears take Caden Proctor? I think a mock draft just dropped. I'm not sure whose it was, where the Bears took Proctor at 25. I wouldn't rule it out. I think left tackle is more in play in round 1 than we think. The Bears know the history of torn patellar tendons. You'd rather have a torn ACL. Like it's not an easy injury to come back from. The Chargers, I promise you, have concerns about Rashawn Slater. So I think Caden Proctor, if they really loved him, big, physical, athletic. Monroe Freeling, I think, is a pretty interesting guy. I just saw he has 35-inch arms, and he can move. I love Ozzie Trapillo, but I think a guy like that might actually be an upgrade. And who knows? When Ozzie's healthy, figure that out down the road. Maybe you move someone into guard, or maybe he becomes a trade piece. The NFL's tough sometimes, right? Things can change quickly. So I would not rule out a tackle in round 1. Ideally, you go elsewhere. But if there's a player they love and think can plug and play at left tackle and play at a high level, I think that's something the Bears would consider. All right, we got Jason. Final question here. Better free agent linebacker fit for the Bears, Nakobe Dean or Leo Chenal? If you tell me both are fully healthy, I'll take Nakobe Dean. Because he's a really good athlete. Chenal's athletic as well, but he was never a full-time player for the Chiefs. He was kind of like a situational backer. His role increased over time, but it's not like his snap share lived at 100%. Nakobe Dean had a degenerative knee issue coming into the pros. He's been banged up some, so I don't know what type of contract you'd be giving him. I probably would be nervous giving him more than 2 years of guaranteed money. But yeah, I do think those are 2 names that the Bears could circle the wagons on if the price is right. Appreciate all of your questions. If you have more, you know where to find me. At HGramNFL on Twitter, Instagram, and the TikTok. Give me a follow there. Trying to get to 5,000 followers. I'm also on Facebook. We're just getting started over there. Got a couple hundred followers, but I know a lot of you guys use Facebook as well. If you search Harrison Graham Chat Sports within the app, you'll find my page. And then also Facebook.com/HGrahamNFL. Please give me a follow all across social media. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, Homero Diaz, favorite Bear is Jamarcus Webb. Bring him back at left tackle. Hester grew up watching him. Yeah, Hester was my favorite player growing up. I know they lost, but housing the kickoff return to start the Super Bowl is one of the most electric starts to a major championship event in the history of sports. I mean, in kind of a negative way, Cullen experienced that as well for this positive for him, but negative for the play, that the team that did it when the Broncos snapped the ball over Peyton Manning's head against that was against you guys, right?
Yeah, well, it happened.
That was the first play from scrimmage, wasn't it?
Yeah, so in Super Bowl 48, 12 seconds of the game, Manny Ramirez snaps the ball over Peyton Manning's head, resulted in a Seahawks safety. And then 12 seconds into the second half of that game, Percy Harvin took a kickback.
That's crazy.
So, that was a great day.
If someone had a parlay of Seahawks special teams touchdown and safety first score, that had to pay. If anyone in the world had that had to pay an unbelievable amount.
And the fact that, again, 12 seconds in each half, that was just meant to be.
Yeah, symmetry is wild.
And then you win a Super Bowl 12 years later. Pretty crazy.
Congrats again.
Thanks.
DC right. Viper.
DC.
My Wilson trade was just a joke mostly, but I do really like the day 3 receivers. If we need to add a piece, Coleman is pretty intriguing, though. Yeah. What's his first name? We talked about
Kevin Coleman. Yeah.
Kevin Coleman out of Missouri. Yeah, look, I love Garrett Wilson. I think he's rotting away in New York. I just don't think the Bears are in business to trade for a high-priced receiver. They just don't need to.
Yeah. Listen, and Burner is something that obviously the Bears could look at. You could never have enough speed, I guess is the right word to say that. Again, just saying those names, Brennan Thompson, Kevin Coleman, who I mentioned, and Eric Rivers. Those were 3 guys that I looked at and I said, in all various degrees, again, we'll see what they test at. They all can fly. And they're day 3 guys. Got a lot of talent, different skill sets a little bit, but I could 100% see if that's the route they go, which they may just decide, hey, we get a guy in free agency and call it a day. Or maybe they just run it back with the receiving core they had last year. That is a possibility as well.
Yeah. My guess is there's some kind of new piece in there, whether it's like swapping out a Zacchaeus for some different free agent or, obviously DJ's the one to watch for like a potential big move, or if it's investing a middle or late round pick in a receiver in the draft. I think all that's on the table. That's a possibility.
DC also sends in another super chat, says, also it's wild that my state of Iowa is looking to lure the Bears to the Hawkeye State. Not likely, but just to show how much a big deal the Bears are.
Yeah, any state that doesn't have an NFL team would love to have one. So when one kind of becomes available, for lack of a better term, I'm not surprised. Iowa's just too far. They're not moving to Iowa. Indiana, as weird as it would be, it's right across the border. Again, we've discussed it. Hammond is actually closer than the Arlington Heights property would be. So, yeah. Kudos to Iowa for having their 15 minutes of fame, getting some press releases there. Hey, we're interested. Come play ball. But they're not moving to Iowa. And now, if there was even a 0.0001% chance, now that Indiana has given them what they need, now there's no chance. Not that there ever was. But it's Indiana or Illinois, and we'll find out soon enough.
It's also kind of brings up, and waiting for this next super chat to load in, for people that live in the Midwest, obviously if you live in Chicago, there's a high chance that you're going to be a Bears fan. If you live in Green Bay, you're going to be a Packers fan, yada, yada, yada. If you're in Iowa, obviously Colts aren't going to be high up in your ranking, but they are kind of a Midwest team. I'm curious to know for somebody that lives in a Midwest state that doesn't have an NFL team, such as Iowa, what the split is in terms of fandom out there.
Yeah, a lot of Bears, some Colts, some Browns.
Browns could be one too.
Browns sneakily have a huge fan base. Yes. They just stink. Those are I'd say it's a combination of those 3 for the most part. Cincinnati, smaller fan base, but they have a few.
Bo Hunter says in Iowa, Vikings, Chiefs, and Bears fans.
Chiefs is a good one as well.
Yeah. DC says Iowa's literally split on all 4 NFC North teams and Chiefs. Even some Lions fans out there? Interesting.
What a choice.
What a choice. Homero loading in says, I'm in the boat of getting Trey and trading out of the first round to get multiple second-round picks and extra day 3 picks.
Getting Trey, trading out of the first round. Yeah, I don't hate the play regardless of Hendrickson, by the way, of just trading out of round 1. I think this is a decent draft to do that. Again, it's always a lot of factors, right? If there's a player you just love when you're picking, you take him. That's the obvious. If there's players you like, but you get trade offers you like, you consider that as well. If there's players you don't like and you don't have a trade, that's kind of the worst position to be in. But the Bears will be prepared for all scenarios. But yeah, if you can trade back, all things equal, I'd rather trade back than trade up in this draft.
I would agree.
Especially from how far down the Bears are. Like if they were picking 14th, I wouldn't mind exploring a trade up if the right player slipped enough. But again, even in like the Caleb Downs scenario, he's still available at pick 10. You're still moving up from 25 to 10. That's going to cost a lot to pull that off. So,
yeah. Like imagine like if you're Ryan Poles, you're sitting there, Bears are next up on the clock. Let's say just for a hypothetical example, they have similar grades on like, I just throwing names out there. Lee Hunter, Peter Woods, maybe Caleb Banks. Let's say he falls because of his medical. Throwing some maybe linebackers in there, whatever the case may be. And you're sitting there saying, okay, we could get a lot more value in day 2 where we feel like, you could get some talent to really revitalize this defense. Yeah. And you trade down from 25 to, let's say, 37, for example. Like what would be the furthest you would trade down if you're the Bears out of 25?
Well, it depends on the offer. If you get a unique Rams-Falcons offer where you can get a first next year, I might be willing to go to like 50.
Fair.
Because it's like, shit, I can get a 1 next year in a draft most expect to be better. That might be worth it.
Let's
pretend to just drop 25 spots.
Let's pretend all NFL GMs actually have a brain on like the last Falcons one and Terry Fontenot. Let's just pretend that for a second.
I'd still want to stay in the top 40 probably.
Yeah.
But, if it's like 43 and you get like a 2 and a 3, then, I might consider that. It's hard to know without seeing the literal offers in front of me. But yeah, I wouldn't want to drop too far unless I'm getting a 1 next year, which picking at 25, that's usually pretty rare, especially in a draft that's not littered with round 1 talent. But again, we saw it last year, so it only takes one idiot for it to happen. So
exactly. I just, again, not trying to. That was one of the dumbest moves I've ever
The
seen.
craziest thing about it all
really
is that the guy they got was actually pretty freaking good as a rookie, and now he may never play football again.
Yep.
James Pierce Jr.
I mean,
where are you at, D Nasty?
I mean, you want to talk about doubling down on high risk. I mean, obviously the trade itself.
It's an overpay, and then you draft a guy who has crazy character concerns.
Volatile. And they were clearly like, all right, well, we believe in this guy enough that if we get him in our building, we can, make sure he doesn't do anything like he did, and he can produce. Well, he produced, but he just, again, the off-field. There was a reason that he was there, as I think everyone can agree based on what he showed last year. Top 10, top 12 talent in last year's draft.
We were even saying that in the pre-draft. I remember Bears fans would ask me, like, could James Pierce Jr. be in play? When did the Bears even – at 10th overall? It's like, talent-wise, it's not crazy. But with all the shit we've heard, I don't think you can take that chance at 10.
No.
I remember saying if he falls to 41 – like,
sure,
maybe you take the chance, but A, that didn't happen, and B, glad it didn't. I don't think the Bears would have taken him anyway. In fact, I think I heard later on that he was off their board, and I'm guessing he was off a lot of people's boards. Not the Falcons.
As he probably should have. All right, Homero, we'll get you on screen this next Super Chat, and then we'll get into our final segment here.
He says, if Tremaine gets cut, would you draft or look into someone like Devin Bush, or if Quay Walker pulls an Adrian Amos and comes to the Bears? I did not like how Quay Walker played this year. I don't think he's great in coverage. And I think that's where the Bears want to improve at linebackers, guys who can cover better.
Mm-hmm.
I've liked him as a player throughout his career. I did not think he was very good this year, though. So I'd be a little wary there. I know Ben Johnson has spoken highly of him before, like he's named him specifically, but I probably would not go in that direction. Devin Bush for the right price intrigues me. The last 2 years for Cleveland, he's quietly turned his career around. He's played really well. So, I mean, if you can get him for an AAV of under $10 million on a 1 or 2 year deal, like, I don't know, you can get him for 2 for 16.
Yeah.
I think he'd be an upgrade probably over Edmunds and Edwards.
Yeah.
If he keeps playing like he has been.
Listen, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Linebackers, in terms of free agency, there are guys, depends on the price point, right? Like if the Bears want to bring them in. Excuse me. That being said, day 2 where, again, maybe the guy I mentioned earlier, I don't know if it was the mailbag or outside of it, like C.J. Allen. Could that be an option for the Bears at 25? Sure, if maybe, they get some help on the defensive line. It depends on how they attack free agency first.
Yeah.
Determines that. So, but there's also some guys on day 2 that are pretty solid as well. Jake Golday, Bryce Betcher's going to be more of a day 3 guy, one of my draft crushes, but Josiah Trotter, son of
Anthony Hill.
Yeah, Anthony Hill out of Texas.
They're going to have to add a linebacker, like at least one notable one. So ideally it wouldn't be your first round pick, but it's possible. I mean, it again, what happens in free agency will obviously play a role in all of that.
All right, we'll get DC up here as well since he just kind of followed up. Then we'll get into it. DC says, I wouldn't mind a trade down. I could see Denver or Pats be open to talks if they like someone at 25 and an extra second and still keep your first.
Yeah, so trade to like 30 or 31. I don't know if you'd get a 2 moving down 5 or 6 slots that late in the first round. You're probably looking more at like a 3. But I might still be open to doing that. If I get an extra third to move down 5 spots, I might do that. Because in a draft like this, in the mid-20s, you're basically in the second round. So would I rather have 30 and like 50, 59 or just 25? I'd probably take 30 and, or not 59, 30 and, quick math, like 84 or just 25. Probably take 30 and 84.
Yeah. Agreed.
Especially if there's a handful of players you still like. It's like, okay, unless there's a perfect domino run here, I'm probably going to get at least one of these guys. So, again, all that comes into play. If some team 6 slots behind you wants to trade up and there's only 2 players you love, you probably just need to stick and pick. But if you're moving down 6 spots and there's 5 players you love, maybe you take the chance. It's like, well, unless all 5 of these guys go right before we pick again, then we're going to get one of our guys in this cluster. It's all a math game. It's all a math game. All right, we do got to get to this last segment. If any more Super Chats come in, we will hit those before we sign off. But let's talk about some NFL cut candidates around the league. NFL.com, The Athletic, has put out a list of some guys, and some names caught my attention that maybe the Bears would be interested in if they free up. So we'll dive into those guys next. Could some new Bears free agent targets become available in the near future? We're going to talk about that here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. I take a look at 5 players in close detail, plus some honorable mentions based on some cut candidates that have been mentioned via The Athletic and NFL.com. And we know this time of year teams start to shed some cap space. We've seen the Dolphins do a lot of that. The Bears themselves, as of filming this, have cut Eamon Ogbongbemiga, obviously a smaller name. We'll see what happens with Tremaine Edmunds. So we'll dive into some players on other teams that if they become available, maybe the Bears would sign, kind of like Grady Jarrett last year, who was a bit of a surprise cut by Atlanta. Okay, can we beat it? The most liked video here on Bears Now in the month of February got 1,797 likes. Can we get 1,800 or more? Can we top that on today's show? If you love the show, if you love the Bears, if you want to support me, hit that like button. We would greatly appreciate it. Okay, the first one I'm going to mention is a rival, Rashawn Gary with the Green Bay Packers, who we were kind of making fun of this year because he, from a sack production, fell off a cliff in the second half of the year. Matt Schneidman, via The Athletic, had this to say about Rashawn Gary, saying another cut candidate is defensive end Rashawn Gary, who has a 2026 base salary of $18 million. Cutting him after he went missing in the second half of the year would free up about $11 million in cap space. So Rashawn Gary, who I've long kind of compared to Montez Sweat, like good player, but not that like dominant top dog on a defensive line. He still had good production last year, right? He did have 7.5 sacks. He had 20 QB hits. The problem is all 7.5 of those sacks came in the first 7 weeks of the season. He had zilch, the final 10 weeks and in the playoff game against the Bears the rest of the way. A decent amount of those games were still with Micah Parsons on the other side. So what happened? Was he playing through something? Did he just get into a funk? Did he fall off? Like, I kind of find it hard to believe that he's just a bad football player now. Historically, he's been pretty good against the run. He's had sack production. His PFF grades are still decent this year. It's not like he was bad. His pass rush win rate of 13% is still solid. So, again, I don't think he's just a bad football player. If he got cut and you could get him on a reasonable 1 or 2 year deal, like what if you could get him for like 2 years and $30 million, $15 million on a 2-year deal, 20 guaranteed? I wouldn't mind that. Now, again, that's not my top guy I'm looking at. I'd rather have a Trey Hendrickson. I'm still exploring Max Crosby if I'm the Bears. But again, kind of like when Bradley Chubb got cut, as many of these guys that free up, the better that is for the Bears because they need to bring in help on their defensive line. So I'm keeping an eye on Rashawn Gary, who obviously knows this division well and would probably have some motivation to go up against Green Bay if they ended up cutting him. Speaking of those frauds, those Packers, you know what to do. Get the FGBs going down in the comments of this video and let those cheeseheads hear it. All right, B.J. Hill, the defensive tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's always been a player I've liked from afar. He's just kind of a steady presence. He's not special, but he's just good. Like, he gives you some sack production. He's pretty good against the run. He's a savvy vet. I would kind of view this like Grady Jarrett, but he's a different body type. He's a little bit bigger in terms of like, hey, his peak days are probably behind him, but on a 1 or 2 year team-friendly deal, come chase a Super Bowl, you need dudes in this rotation. You need volume of guys, especially in the interior. I don't love this interior group right now. I think B.J. Hill could come in here and be a pretty productive player. He's still graded out pretty well, and if you look at this group from last year, what is Gervon Dexter's long-term future? Andrew Billings is probably gone. I like Grady Jarrett. I think he came along, but, he's not worth what the Bears paid him. If you could get B.J. Hill on a more team-friendly type of contract, throw him into a rotation with Dexter and Jarrett, maybe you draft a talented guy in the first round as well, that's a pretty good foursome for next year. I think you'd feel pretty good about that group. If you had Hill and Jarrett as your veterans, Dexter as a young player that you hope takes another step, and then a rookie, I think that group of four you'd feel better about than what you currently have. 8.2% pass rush win rate is still solid for a defensive tackle. How about Tony Pollard? Go to the offensive side of the ball. I think Tony Pollard has quietly been one of the better running backs in the league for a while. I mean, you look at his numbers, you're like, wow, he's rushed for over 1,000 yards in 4 straight seasons. Now, he's never been like an elite tier A running back, but he has some explosiveness. He's always been a pretty good pass catcher. That production in that regard has dipped in recent years, but I think you can still get a decent amount of production out of him in the passing game. I do think there's similarities with DeAndre Swift, and that's kind of where this conversation stops for me. I'd probably just keep Swift for this year. Like, I don't think I'm going out of my way to cut or trade Swift to bring in Tony Pollard, right? Like, it's kind of the Spider-Man meme. Like, they're pretty similar. Similar tier player that do similar things. But he is a good player, and who knows? Maybe he's cheap. What if you get him for $5 million? Like, okay, like cut Swift for 7.5, sign Pollard for 5. Maybe you'd consider that. Again, I don't consider him an upgrade from Swift, so I'm probably not like going crazy here. But I do think he's a solid player, and there's been chatter he could get cut. So you never know. I think if Ben Johnson sees an upgrade at running back, and maybe he'd view Pollard as an upgrade, I don't think he'd be shying away from that possibility if it was for the right guy and if it made sense. Okay, today's show sponsored by Marsman. Appreciate Marsman for sponsoring. I turned 33 this year, and fellas, I got to be honest, I was starting to feel it late last year. Most men start losing testosterone around age 30, and about 1% every year after that, when the new year hit, I kind of treated it like a reset. I wanted to feel energized again, not worn down, especially after a long football season. So this year, I'm keeping it simple, and I'm doing something natural that supports my body where it needs it. That's why I'm taking Marsman. It helps your body unlock usable testosterone so you can feel like yourself once again. Marsman supports healthy T levels, stamina, and energy. It has 8 natural and clinically dosed ingredients, including boron, vitamin D, and zinc, plus much more. Marsman is made in the United States and is third-party tested as well. You can also get a 90-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Worst case, if you don't love it, you can absolutely get your money back. However, 91% of users report higher energy levels, so that's pretty unlikely. For a limited time, our listeners get 50% off for life plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 gifts when you check out. After you purchase, they're going to ask you where you found out about them. Tell them we sent you. Bears Now by Chat Sports. Okay, a couple more guys here. Javon Hargrave, who we've talked about multiple times way back in 2022, I believe. The Bears were interested when he ended up signing with the San Francisco 49ers. Last offseason, I don't know if the Bears were interested, but I was. He ended up signing with Minnesota on a 2-year, $30 million deal. And he had a decent year, but the Vikings are in a tough cap spot, and especially they're going quarterback hunting, so Hargrave's kind of an obvious cut for them. But that doesn't mean he can't play. He's just a cap casualty. To me, 1-year type of guy. He'll be 33. Could you get him 1 year, $6 to $8 million bucks? Still a solid pass rusher, graded out at a 70 pass rush grade for Minnesota. He had 7 pressures in week 1 against the Bears. He actually ripped the Bears in that season opener. His production was kind of inconsistent the rest of the year, but over 10% pass rush win rate. That's a nice number for a defensive tackle. Not great against the run, but wasn't terrible this past year. I think if you have him, adding another run-stopping defensive tackle would be important. Okay, Eric Armstead, who's kind of a tweener in a 4-3 scheme. He could play some D-end. He could play some 3-tech. He's really more of an ideal 3-4 defensive tackle, to be honest. So I don't know how Dennis Allen would view a guy like Eric Armstead, but still a productive player. Now, he's making $19 million per year, so the Jags are probably going to look to cut bait and save some money there. But he's been a solid, steady presence for a while. I know he was a team leader with the 49ers. I would imagine that continued in Jacksonville as well. Pass rush win rate, again, over 10%. So if he played primarily on the interior, that's a good number. Again, kind of a tweener edge, defensive tackle type here. So you'd need to have a vision and a specific role for him. Maybe the role is just versatility. But, I think he falls into that category of, like, excellent 5th defensive lineman in a 4-3, where, like, he's your top rotation guy coming in and, playing half the snaps or whatever the case may be. So keep an eye on Armstead as well. Name a cut candidate around the NFL that you want the Bears to sign. Who could get cut that you'd like to see the Bears bring in here? I just mentioned 5 guys. A few others just to kind of take a mental note of. Ashawn Robinson, who's had a couple of nice years in Carolina. They could move on from him. He's a pretty good player. Uchenna Nwosu, again, more of a 3-4 edge rusher, but decent size. I think on a 1 or 2 year deal could make some sense. Bryce Huff, I don't really love, but it is an edge rusher. He has not had a great 2-year stretch here. 2024 in Philadelphia, it was a disaster. This year it started pretty well with the 49ers, but then he hit a wall in October, so I don't love that idea. Tyreek Hill, I don't even know if he'll be healthy. I don't even know if the Bears would want to bring him in with his off-field baggage, but if he's healthy, he's a explosive as hell player and would be interesting in Ben Johnson's offense if they did get rid of DJ Moore. Again, I think that's a crazy long shot. Do have the Ryan Poles connection, though. And then James Conner. I've always liked James Conner. Arizona could look to move on. He was injured this past year. If it's cheap enough, I think he's a good player. So maybe he would be a running back option if they did pivot off DeAndre Swift. All right, that's it. Some cut candidates around the league. We'll see if the Bears pounce if some of these guys become available. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We'll see you guys soon. Bear down. Want to remind you guys, the merch, chatsports.com/bearshop. You can find all of our merchandise, the t-shirts, the hoodies, including the new Green River themed St. Patty's gear. I worked with our design team a lot on this one, so we feel pretty proud about what we've put out here. Got QB1 with the cheese graters pouring the green dye there into the river. No one does St. Patty's better than Chicago, so if you want to represent, we got the hoodies in navy and black with the green river and the skyline. You also got the green T-shirt. If you want a St. Patty's full green shirt that's available, the T-shirts also come available in navy and in black, so please check those out. T-shirts $29.99, hoodies $44.99. If you go to chatsports.com/bearshop, link is in the chat. Those are the first two products you'll see. Now, if you click on the T-shirt or the hoodie, you can toggle over for the colors. So I think the T-shirt will default to the green, but you can toggle to black or navy. And then the two hoodie options, I think the default is navy, but if you want the black, you can toggle over. Check it out. It's awesome. This is a close, zoomed-in look at the design. I think, look, I don't want to humble brag here, Cullen, but I've seen the merch company-wide. This is up there with one of the best designs. I think the Iceman in this St. Patty's Day, I'd put those two designs up against just about anyone. The Seahawks has a couple of cool ones. I'm not just gassing you up. The Mob Mentality shirt is cool. I do like that one. There's been a couple others, but I've been pretty proud of the Bears ones we've put together. So if you want to represent, pretty cool stuff. You also got the tagged logo in these shirts as well, which you can see up there in the collar. So pretty sweet. So if you want to support, go check it out, chatsports.com/bearshop.
Listen, the Bears fans, they represent here at Bears Now, and honestly, in terms of the merchandise, shout out to our guy Arnold, who does a lot of great work behind the scenes. There's a lot of cool looking stuff there. And again, I'm not a Bears fan. That being said, pretty cool looking merch. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, come on.
The creativity here is pretty
this is
pretty
unbelievable.
Cool.
I mean, tell me where else you're gonna find this. Nowhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere. Seriously, and make sure you don't get pinched this St. Patrick's Day. Rock the green. I think it's a good look.
Well, and the cool thing about this one is even if you go navy or black and you're rocking the St. Patty's, you got the green river. So, you know, if they pinch you, they're frauds. You're still rocking the green. So
that they are.
Go check it out. We didn't do green in hoodies because our hoodie product we used didn't have a green that really matched this one. It was more of a Packers green. I was like, I'm not doing that. We're not putting out that.
Black really.
I think the black's the best one. It's our first shirt or hoodie that like the main color is black, and I think the green really pops on this one. The green river and the navy blends in well. The orange on the kind of outline of the text there. So really great stuff. I want to shout out Arnold again, who does a lot of the designing on these. You know, I come up with most of the ideas, but he makes it come to life. So pretty cool stuff, and it's another way to support the show. I know a lot of you guys are like, I've already subscribed. I like the videos. What else can I do to support? You know, if the merch for yourself or for someone else, it all helps. So we greatly appreciate it. We put a lot of energy into it, and you guys have answered the bell. So I appreciate it very much.
Absolutely.
And again, you can find all of our other merch at that same link: Iceman, FGB, Our Turn, where the bear is great in the cheese. If you still want the Took the North gear, it's all available. So go check it out.
Yeah, if you guys have bought any Bears Now merch from our Bears shop, type me down below. I'll get some shout-outs unless we get another super chat, we will be signing off here.
Yeah, type me if you've bought any merch. We'll get some shout-outs, and then we will sign off on the way out of here.
Yeah. Shout out to you guys, though. The support has been greatly appreciated here on the show, and it's credit to you guys, seriously. We try to give you guys the best content, and now we're hoping to give you guys something that, again, if you're just kind of chilling at home or if you're out and about, you want to show and represent one of your favorite shows on YouTube, here's a great way to do it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. One more time, chatsports.com/bearshop. Why I don't get it. I don't know what you mean. To get it, you got to click and purchase, brother. Pick your size, pick your design, let's go. Pride and joy of Indiana, baby. Well, maybe no one watching has gotten the merch.
Yeah, that's fine.
I know a lot of people who watch the show have gotten it, but yeah, they may not be watching right now. It's
maybe
all
not.
good.
That's cool.
It's all good. All right, guys, we appreciate you tuning in. Chicago Bears of Indiana. Well, we'll see. Can we get a pride and joy of Indiana? If they move to Indiana, are we going to do Indiana merch? I don't know. It's still going to be the Chicago Bears, so it doesn't matter. Edmunds cut confirmed. Are you trolling me right now? I think you're trolling me right now.
I feel like that would be...
all the insiders would be on that one.
Yeah. That's like one of those where, like, there are some where Bears, like, specific insiders will get the initial scoop. Tremaine Edmunds feels like one that like Schefter.
Come on, Matthew. Don't do that to me. I do think it could come soon though. Like, I don't think it's aim and O, and we're not going to get any more news for a week. So, got him. All right, you got me. You got me to check. Congratulations. All right, we're out of here. We'll be back in studio tomorrow, filming more content for you guys for the next few days. And then, of course, we'll be back live on Monday unless there's major breaking news before then. So stay tuned, bear down, and we'll see you soon.